This video is just on finding papers that I refer to during the worksheets. Now, if you're happy finding papers yourself, then you don't need to watch this. If you've had some trouble finding papers, then follow through along with me here and just check you know what options are available to you. Now, if I can, I've put in a link, and this may just take you straight to the paper and you don't have to do anything else. It'll be there. Now, if you do have to search for the paper to download it yourself, then there's a couple of ways you can go about doing this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a look for the article Mindfulness Online, which is a 2012 paper, and I'm just going to select this first few words, and I'm just going to Control-C to copy that. Usually it's only the first few words of a title you need. The reason I use title keywords rather than the authors is because you'll often find one author has written a lot of papers, or you'll have a lot of authors who actually have the same name and the same year, whereas titles tend to be more specific. But sometimes you need a combination of both depending on how common all these terms are. So to look for a paper, you've got a couple of options, and I'll show you where I go first. Usually I go to Google Scholar first, and that's because Google Scholar usually has everything that I want straight in it. If you don't have a link to this, just go into Google and search for Google Scholar. It is a slightly different search engine which is dedicated to published research. So I'm going to paste in the start of my title, which will be my key search terms, and it's come up with the one that I want straight away. Google Scholar is very nice in that you can go into site and you can either copy and paste the citation you need, or you can import it into EndNote or one of your other citation management packages. And quite often it will give you a link to the whole paper without needing to go through the library. This doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to go, sometimes it's behind what's called a paywall, and you need to go through the library website because they have a paid subscription to whichever journal it is. In this case, you can see that it will take us straight to the article, and this is just the abstract. If you want the whole PDF, you've got the full text here is probably a web-based version of the full text. If you want to download it, the PDF probably looks nicer. So you can click on PDF, and here's your whole article ready to print out. So that's one way of doing it through Google Scholar, and that a lot of the times that works fine, and I would use that. If this doesn't turn up what you need, then your other option is to go through the library website. So you can see here, this is the main library page. You don't really need to go into the databases and journal titles. It's got this nice Discover search box which will just do it all for you. So just cut and paste your keywords in there, or I could even change that to title. Press search. Now it's told me that it's not going to tell me what it's found because it doesn't think I'm a member of the university, so I'm just going to have to log in. Oh, now it's remembered who I am, so it's logged me in. So in this case it has come up with my article straight away. If it didn't come up with it straight away, if it gave you say 100 or 200 search results, you'd need to come down here and just check off a few options. You can see here that I've restricted the publication date to 2012 because I know that's when this article was published. If I didn't actually know specifically which article I wanted, and I just wanted to know what had been published about mindfulness in the last 5 years, then obviously I would change those years to be 2009 to 2014, and maybe just search for mindfulness as a keyword rather than a title word. So that would be if I was searching for papers about something. In this case, I've told you which papers I need you to look at, and you're just trying to get straight to that paper, whichever way is fastest. And you can see that it's brought up a whole lot of books, and I'm not really interested in books, I'm just interested in journal articles, so I'll tick that option there. Now, once you get into these papers, you can see that there's the option here to link to the full text. If it doesn't give you this option for the full text, it may give you an option to try and find it. Let me see if there's one here. So it doesn't have the full text here, but it says it will search for it for you. So you click on that link, and it has a look around to see if it can find the full text somewhere. And it looks like it has popped it up. Occasionally it will say that it can't find an article. If that happens, before you give up, if you haven't tried it in Google, go back to Google Scholar and try it in that. Even though it seems odd that the library which pays for the research articles doesn't have it, why would it be for free on Google Scholar? Sometimes it is available there, and that might just be because it's been published in an open access journal, or it might be because the author has released an earlier draft of the work for free on the university website, or the university that they belong to is also publishing the article, or for whatever reason the publisher themselves have given that article for free on the website. So occasionally, if you can't find the article you want through the library, do a Google Scholar search and you might turn it up there. If you can't find any of the papers, if you can't, for whatever reason you can't find these papers, do post to the message board. But I know that this one is open access and the second one is open access, and I would think that this one is fairly easy to find too. Actually, let's try just control clicking on the link and see if it pops it up. Okay, so that's just popped up the article here. So it's a German paper, but there's an English translation. If you happen to speak German, of course you're welcome to read it in German. So if you're interested, the reason that I don't just put the articles on Blackboard as PDFs for you to download, that's because it's a breach of copyright for me to essentially republish someone else's work. That would be in breach of copyright regulations. What is allowed is for me to link back to that material, or in some cases I can ask the library to make it available through Blackboard, but again it's still going through the library, and this is so that the author gets recognised for the number of people that view their article, whether it's a free article or a paid article. So I can't just, well, I shouldn't just post the PDFs, I can post the links and then you can access the articles yourselves.